Good evening, everybody. On behalf of my sisters, I welcome all of you to the 16th Leslie J. Fernandez Memorial Lecture. I must say I'm overwhelmed to see so many familiar faces and people who knew my father and who are here to pay tribute to this man. My father, Leslie, was a man of many talents, and he used them to the full. However, his most enduring attributes were his compassion, his terrific sense of humor, and an insatiable desire to serve humanity in whatever capacity he could. Following his death in 1996, we three sisters decided to create the Leslie J. Fernandez Memorial Trust and instituted the Memorial Lecture as a tribute to his work and to keep his life, his legacy alive, and also to celebrate his life. So the first lecture was delivered in 1998 by the late Dr. P.M. Bhargava, the founding director of CCMB. We, over the years, invited individuals who had invested themselves fully in making the world a better place for others. Individuals who demonstrated courage, walked the path less traveled by many of us, and who did not waver in their commitment to the cause that they believed in. The speakers came from different professions, ranging from scientists to the police force. Yes, we had the director of the Anti-Corruption Bureau give a lecture one year, social activists, and the Indian Administrative Service too. There were interruptions to the lectures, and sadly, COVID added to that. And today, after an 8-year gap, we are pleased to host the 16th Memorial Lecture by Mr. Jasper Paul, whom I discovered in an Instagram reel that was forwarded to me by a friend. I must admit I was riveted, and then began to read whatever I could about this young man. I was privileged to meet him 2 years ago when he and his wife honored us at Fernandez with a visit. But the icing on the cake, ladies and gentlemen, was last Christmas. On Christmas Day, I chose to visit one of his 3 facilities, interacted with the residents, and met his delightful daughter, Ida, who is a lovely mix of sunshine and pure, unadulterated joy. And I'm sure you will meet her as the evening moves on. Before I invite my sister, Patricia Hassan, to introduce Jasper, I thought we could play a short video of my father because some of you here never met him, and I hope the short video will do justice to the man.
Dr. Leslie J. Fernandez was born on the 8th of January 1917. The youngest of 13 children, he was orphaned at the age of 5. In 1946, he married Dr. Lourdes de Souza, a partnership that would go on to shape the future of maternity care in Hyderabad. In June 1948, with the help of her older sister, Dr. Mary, they opened Stoke Home in Boglakunta with 2 rooms and 2 beds. Leslie became the man Friday, quietly supporting Lourdes while the clinic grew to 40 beds. Meanwhile, Leslie and Lourdes were blessed with 4 children. Apart from his administrative skills, Leslie showed a deep interest in clinical care. So Lourdes encouraged him to pursue medicine. At the age of 40, Leslie entered medical college. As a doctor, Leslie was truly blessed with a healing touch. He was lovingly called Baba by his patients, a name that stayed with him till the very end. In 1971, Leslie survived a life-threatening medical emergency. He believed God gave him a second chance and decided then to devote his life to the service of humanity. He ran a busy outpatient clinic and asked patients to give what they could afford. All of it was donated to the Home for the Aged. An artist and philanthropist, Leslie gave generously beyond medicine. Even while battling cancer, he raised over 1 million rupees through his paintings for the Shanti Avedna Hospice in Mumbai. As a tribute, the Dr. Leslie Fernandez daycare room was established at the hospice. In 1985, he lost his only son Michael. Grief found expression through poetry and art, honest and deeply human. In September 1995, he inaugurated the ground floor of the unfinished Fernandez Hospital building, thus seeing the future taking shape. On the 16th of October 1995, Dr. Leslie J. Fernandez passed away, but what he built did not end. Fernandez Hospital stands today on the foundation of unchanging values of compassion, courage, and service, a legacy that began with 2 rooms and a man who gave everything he had.
So before Patricia comes to introduce Jasper, I'd like to warn you, the listeners, who are present in this hall and those who have plugged in on Zoom, that some of the pictures may be very difficult to watch. However, this is the world of Jasper, the grim reality of what he faces every day. I also warn you to have a few tissues in your hands. It is a privilege to introduce Mr. Jasper Paul, founder of the Second Chance Foundation, Hyderabad, a committed social change maker whose work has touched thousands of lives. Jasper's journey into social service was shaped by a life-altering personal experience that gave him a profound sense of purpose and compassion. What began as an individual effort to help abandoned and homeless people on the streets has grown into the Second Chance Foundation, an organization dedicated to rescuing, rehabilitating, restoring dignity to the elderly, destitute, and forgotten. Under his leadership, the foundation has provided shelter, health care, nourishment, emotional support, and family reintegration to thousands of individuals who had been living without care or any identity. Jasper believes that dignity, compassion, and human connection are not privileges but basic rights, and his work consistently reflects this belief. Through his hands-on approach and unwavering commitment, Jasper Paul continues to inspire communities to look beyond charity towards human, sustainable care. We are honored to have him with us today as a speaker, and I'm sure his insights and experiences will deeply resonate with us all. Please join me in warmly welcoming Mr. Jasper Paul.
We found a lady crying at the top of her lungs. When our team reached the spot, we found her entire skull was broken and covered with maggots and flies. She was in terrible pain. We got her home to second chance and treated her, and she stayed with us for the rest of her life. We get almost 5 to 6 calls every single day about people who are abandoned and in need of help. Most of these people are in their last stages of life, suffering with some kind of disease like HIV, TB, cancer, injuries, or broken bones. They are the people who are counting their minutes to die. And it is safe to say they are the most ignored part of society, just lying there, hopeless, waiting for help to arrive.
His body has become stiff, if you can see.
Second Chance Foundation is an NGO that works with these precious people who are on the brink of death by rescuing them and getting them to our shelter homes and nourishing them into functional human beings of society. We have also started a hospital where the treatment for these destitute people are done absolutely free of cost.
We rescued an unknown person who was in his last stages of life, abandoned and about to die. The doctors clearly told us that his chances of survival was nil. But we still took up the challenge, rescued him and got him to our shelter. With a lot of care, medical support and above all love, Kishan, a young handsome boy, recovered completely and you can see the transformation.
The transformations that happen when we get them home are absolutely unbelievable. Till date, we have rescued more than 3,000 people from the streets of Hyderabad, and the number is going higher day by day. We are currently housing 200 plus elders across 3 shelter homes in Hyderabad. We need your support to feed them 3 meals a day and also take care of their hygiene and medical expenses. We need rice, oil, groceries, adult diapers, medicines and a lot more supplies. I'm sure you all know the cost of providing for just one elder in your household. And so we humbly appeal to you to donate towards our cause and help us to take care of the 200 plus residents staying with us. Every bit of your contribution goes towards the welfare of the people at our shelter. Do donate generously and let us together make this world a better place to live. God bless us all.
Adversity is all around us. Every day as we step into our daily walks of life, as we leave our house, we see adversity all around us. It can be economic adversity, the stock market's crashing or inflation. It could be social, could be the caste system. It could be religious adversity where people are fighting over whose God is bigger and whose God is superior. It can be cultural adversity, fights over one's belief system and cultures. Or the adversity can simply be existential, which means that literally right now, as we sit in this auditorium, there are people outside who are struggling to live. Good evening, one and all. My name is Jasper Paul. I am 30 years old. And my story begins when most people think that their story is about to end. You would have heard my introduction, what all I've done in the past many years. But none of that qualifies me to stand here and speak to you today. Because I expected a lot of youngsters to be here, but it is quite the opposite. And I'm honored to be standing here and speaking in front of such an august gathering. But what does qualify me is that, like all of you, I have stood in rooms, in hospital rooms, in street corners, in bus stops, in railway stations, where the answers were few, emotions were heavy, and still, just like all of you, doing your best still didn't feel enough. So today I don't stand here as an expert. I don't stand here as a person who has it all figured out, but I stand here as someone whose life was shaped in the midst of adversity. And I'm very excited and honored and privileged, and I thank God for this opportunity to stand on this ground where compassion is practiced. Like Dr. Evita mentioned, some of the pictures that I'm going to show you today can be extremely graphic, so your viewer discretion is please advised. We're talking about existential adversity. Let me ask you a question. How many of you, is it okay if I walk around? Yeah. Thank you so much. How many of you have seen people outside of your hospital die on the roads? Or have you seen a dying person? A person who's about to die? Or have you seen a person who's in a really, really bad situation? Yes. One such story I'd like to start off my talk is the story of Raju. Raju was found outside of a church. And he was found in the midst of adversity. It was a sight that made us sick to our stomach. He was lying naked on the streets. Someone saw his plight, covered him with a blanket, and just left. Little did they realize that Raju was completely paralyzed and could not even move 1 inch. So this person was urinating and passing motion in the same place. And that entire area got affected. His entire back area got affected and became something like this. The entire area here, there was a huge hole and there were literally worms eating him alive. We went to the spot, we cleaned him up, and we told him everything's going to be okay. Rescued him, got him to our shelter home. Now this young man, hardly about 25 years old, living in existential adversity, came to our home, transformed and became something like this. Left side is how he was on the street. Right side was how he was when he entered our home. Now remember, I told you that he was paralyzed. After a few months and after a lot of love and care that we showed to him, started dancing. This evening, I've entitled my talk, Finding Purpose in the Midst of Adversity. And here's how the roadmap of today's talk is going to be. I'm going to start off with my very own story, my very own experience of how adversity gave me a second chance. Next, we're going to talk about how I used that adversity to translate pain into purpose. And lastly, I'm just going to give you a quick 4 points, although I'm in no situation to advise anyone, but these are based on my experience. Quick 4 points from being a social worker for the past 12 years as to how your life can make a difference in this world in the midst of adversity. So let's start off with my second chance. I was a very fun-loving guy. I still am. But when I was in my teenage, I was a rebel, right? So this was how I was. And I was a person who would go against my family, their wishes and their dreams. They wanted me to become someone very great, but this is who I became. I became a musician. And you would understand that there were a lot of girls that were behind me, literally behind me in the picture. And you can see that how they're looking at me. So I was a fun-loving kid. I loved music. I play musical instruments. I still do. I play almost every instrument you can name it. And I used to wear these bands like a tribal person all the way till my elbow. And I was the first person in the history of my family to color my hair. Never in the genealogy of my family has anyone covered the hair. Now we talk about generation gap. I want to explain about generation gap in this picture. These jeans that I'm wearing are very scientific jeans. They're scientifically proven because they defy the laws of gravity. It means that no matter how low I wear the jeans, it just wouldn't fall off. And talking about generation gap, I used to wear my pants here. The gap between here and my hip was the generation gap. So that was my life. I was literally living with cultural adversity with my parents and family. And I had this deep passion for cars and bikes. How many of you enjoy automobiles? A good car? Yes? 2 hands, obviously. Of course, these are not my bikes. They were just parked. I just sat on them and took a picture. I used to live life like Fast and Furious. It means I was always fast and my parents were always furious. Okay, if someone can guess the speed, Dr. Evita has promised a brand new iPhone for you after the end of the talk. Can someone guess the speed that I was driving at? Sorry? No. Who said 180? Okay, that's the right answer. Dr. Evita, yeah, we're winner. So that's literally how I used to drive my car. I was into a lot of street racing. I was into a lot of illegal activities. Many times my car was impounded by the police. Many times I fell from the bike. I broke almost every bone in my body. And that's how life was going on. That's when adversity hits my life. Just like that, adversity hit my life. And because of my own irresponsibility, I met with an accident. And I used to have this red color car. And I used to drive this car on the road like there's no tomorrow. And I'm going to show you a video of a car flipping, right? So that video was taken from a movie scene, but it's the exact same thing that happened to my car, right? Let's watch. On the highway, it was raining that day, that night. I was at a very high speed, about 110, 120 kilometers an hour. And I could feel the air coming into the car because my windows were rolled down. And that day, I don't know if it was fate, there was a huge tree that fell in the middle of the road. The last minute, I saw this tree. I pressed the brake. I lost control of my car. And my car swerved to the right and to the left and to the left and went into a death road. My car flipped exactly like what you saw in this video 3 times and fell almost 50 feet away from the highway road. This was the condition of my car. And I was in that car, my dear friends, 12 years ago, 2014. Now, as this car was flipping, I had only one question in my mind. Because I believe in heaven and hell. And I believe in God. I had one question: if I die right now, where am I going to go? Have you seen that little bumper sticker that says, I believe in Jesus Christ? People thought that's what saved me. And that was not what saved me. The car flipped 3 times, fell almost 50 feet away. I woke up, there was dust all around me. I thought I was in hell. Because I had obviously not done anything good in life. I had not pleased my parents. I had not done anything good. I woke up, I felt my body numb. I walked out of the car, somehow got out of the car, saw the car was completely smashed. But when I looked at my body, I couldn't even find a single scratch on my body. That day, my friends, I believe it was something called GRACE, grace, of my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ that saved me, that pulled me out of that car and gave me a second chance to live. And I value that day the most in my life because it changed my life on so many levels. It changed my life for the good. I'd endured the greatest adversity known to mankind, death. I saw death face to face and looked in the eye of death and said, not today. But something was incomplete within. A question that, why was my life saved on that fateful day, in that accident? I started looking out in real life if there was any opportunity to repay God for giving me a second chance in life. And that's when I met Padmavati. No, she was not my girlfriend. She was an old grandmother who was counting her moments to die. And our paths somehow crossed. I'm going to show you a video of Padmavati and my first interaction.
Record her. Show me. This is the case of 5 days of homelessness, and all the bystanders here just saw and went. Everyone just saw and went. But I decided to come and take this lady to hospital. Go ahead, come. Come closer. These people, they only need a little love, that's all. And she was very happy to see me.
So Padmavati was found near Secunderabad Station Road. How many of you are aware of Secunderabad Station Road, right? Near the old passport office. She was found there. She was lying on the street, and I was just passing by in my motorcycle for some work. And I happened to look across the road. I found this little lady on the street, and there were flies all around her. I thought to myself, probably this woman is dead. The curiosity within me made me go to her and look at her situation, and she was still alive. She was still breathing. I turned my bike back, and I came back home. When I was coming back home, I was passing by the same road where my accident happened, where my car actually flipped. That's when a voice, a small still voice, which I believe and called the Holy Spirit, spoke to me saying, maybe God saved your life that day for this one lady. And I turned my bike back intentionally, went back to this lady and saw she had a bad injury on her hand. You could almost see that the bone was exposed. There were maggots literally eating up the flesh. And to cut the long story short, I had picked her up, put her in Gandhi hospital. In Gandhi, they refused to admit her. They asked me to clean her and get her inside. So I took a earbud. I removed all the maggots with my very own hands, cleaned her up and put her in the hospital. And this particular video, I put it on Facebook. Those days, Facebook was famous. Not anymore. Now it's Instagram. I put it on Facebook and the video got a lot of views. People started sharing it. And the press covered the story. So Sakshi newspaper covered the story. Next day morning, it had come in the headlines that a 19-year-old boy rescued a 90-year-old woman. And my photo and her photo. Seeing her photo, this lady who was missing got reunited back to her family. That was her family member. And this was a photo that came in the Sakshi newspaper. Seeing this photo, she was missing from another village. She ended up in Secunderabad. She got reunited back to her family. That was my first experience, and that's how it all began, my first rescue. And ever since that day, I believed that my life had purpose. I believed that I had found my purpose and my life's mission was in the people that were living in adversity. I started seeing people who were left to die on the streets, and my heart was moved. And I want to say adversity is a reality. Many of us have not seen such sights that I'm going to show you right now. But no human being on the face of the earth should go through all of this. Literally just skin and bones, just counting second after second, waiting to die. That's all. And I believe all of these people are God's creation. Everyone was created by God and everyone deserves to get a second chance at life. That's when the vision of second chance was born. I want to just give a small tip. It's free advice as to how you can recognize your life's purpose. What is that one thing in your life that makes you feel bad the most? What is that one thing from your childhood that feels like a burden in your heart? For me, it was these people. Even when I was little, when I was younger, I would feel a deep burden in my heart when I saw such people on the streets. The thing that causes that uneasiness in your heart that can almost every time become the purpose of your life. I'm sure all of you sitting in this room, most of you, if I may, chose healthcare because you had a desire to see people get better. And I just want to take this minute to honor and salute all of those working in healthcare. If you are indirectly or directly associated with healthcare, can I just request you to stand? I just want to take a moment to honor you. You're directly or indirectly related to healthcare. Can you have a round of applause for all of them? Thank you for your service. Thank you for your bravery. Thank you for everything you've done for humanity. Please be seated. We started an organization called Second Chance, an organization with the sole mission to see no homeless person die on the street. Through this organization, many thousands of people have received shelter. Now, this is the most interesting part of my talk. I always show these pictures wherever I go to speak. These are some of the people who have recovered after reaching our shelter home. This particular person, his name is Sandeep, and as you can see, he was very malnourished, has an injury on his hand which was gangrenous, and he was just lying on the hospital floor. This is Osmania Hospital. He was lying on the floor without having food for many, many weeks together. Imagine you missed one meal. Your stomach starts to grumble. And there are different sounds which you've never heard in your life that starts happening in your stomach. These people have not had meals for weeks together. We rescued him and got him to our shelter home and gave him a shake, gave him a bath, and this was how his condition was. And if you can see on his chest, there's a tattoo that says Harshita. So probably it was a love failure case. We do not know. But this person, even though he failed at love, love never fails. Even though he failed, I've never said this before. Even though he failed at love, love never fails. You want to see what love did to him? Yes? That's what love did to him. transformed him from a person who was not recognizable, from a person who almost looks like a skeleton, to a fully functional person. Next one. The story of Meena, immigrant from North India, came to Hyderabad to do some work, ended up here somehow mentally unsound, lost all her belongings, ended up in our shelter home with a very high fever. The police personnel had brought her to our shelter home, and my wife and the team gave her the best care, the love, the affection, the medical treatment, and she transformed into something like this. Yeah, you can give a clap to the team who's behind this kind of transformation. Are you liking the transformations? Yes. There's a young boy lying outside Osmania Hospital again. Here, these people, they lie in the hot sun, in the cold winter, in the rainy season. They're just lying there. No one to help them, no one to put a shelter over them. They're just lying there. And obviously, as you can see, he had soiled his pants and unable to move in a bad situation. So we had gone and rescued him. So I drive my own ambulance. I have an ambulance and I drive it myself. So whoever I rescue, they think I'm a driver. And they think my wife's the boss, which is the right thing. So we rescued him and he transformed into something like this. That's what love can do. So we're going into the next part of the talk where I just introduce you to a few quick steps to become successful in the midst of adversity. But I want to ask a question this evening, and I'll probably leave the floor open. What is success? I'm sure I'm going to get some really brilliant answers, and I'm going to take them back home. Can maybe one or two of you just say, what is success according to you? And then I'll give you my definition. Anyone?
When you achieve what you're aspiring for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Can we have a round of applause for that answer? When we achieve what we are aspiring for. Absolutely. Yes. Anyone else? Where is success? Yes, please.
When we be satisfied with what we have done.
When we look back and feel satisfied with what we have done. Absolutely. Can we have a round of applause? Now, I'm not sure if everyone can relate to me, but success, according to me, is this. When someone else who cannot give you anything in return has benefited from your life, you are successful. This is my definition of success. For some of us, it can be, career growth. For some of us, it can be giving a good life to our family. For some of us, it can be money. For some of us, it can be fame. But according to me, success is if someone else who cannot give you anything back in return has truly benefited from your life. Like how we saw in the video from Dr. Evita's father. How many people have benefited? And they gave him such a loving name, Baba. He's truly a successful man. Dr. Evita is truly a successful woman. How many people have benefited from her life and her work? That is success to me. So we're just going to look at few points and we'll quickly close and leave the floor open for questions. The first one is to take the initiative. In the midst of adversity, it all begins with the first step. Whenever we see something unjust happening, whenever we see problems, whenever we see issues, it all begins with us taking that first step. Someone said this, initiative is doing right without being told to do so. I'll say that again. Initiative is doing the right thing without being told to do so. Another person said, action is the antidote to adversity. I'm going to play a video right now about a person who was found in a very busy street. And thousands of students, thousands of lecturers, thousands of common people passed by that street, but nobody stopped for this person. Another few days he would have died on the street, but someone took initiative to rescue him. Let's watch the video. that was point number 1. Take the initiative. If someone wouldn't have taken the initiative to call us, that person would have died on the street. And if our team wouldn't have taken the initiative to go and rescue him and bring him home, he would have died. Number 2, take the risk. The biggest risk in life is not to take any risk. If you don't go out to the branch, you're never going to taste the best fruit. And one such story I'd like to share about taking risk was a time where there were about 40 elders who were abandoned at another old age home. The article in the Deccan Chronicle says 35, but we rescued 40 people. So we rescued 40 people on a single day from another old age home where they were not being cared for. You can see the people literally, in their last stages of life. So we got them to our shelter home, and at that time we didn't have resources, we didn't have staff, we didn't have people to care for them, but somehow we managed to mobilize, and we did a couple of videos and put it on social media, through which we got a lot of support and got all of these 40 people home. Now some of these people were suffering from severe infections, and literally when they would pass motion, we would have to pull out worms. It was that bad. And time went on, we were able to stabilize all of them. One day I get a letter in the mail. And it's bad news if the postman is wanting to give the letter only to you. So he was asking specifically for me, and he gives the letter to me. I sign, I open the mail, and it says, "You have been summoned in a case." And my name is the second suspect, saying that I kidnapped all of these 40 people, and I am putting them under illegal detention. And there is a non-bailable warrant because it's a human rights case. And that was filed by the owner of that old age home, right? So he filed the case, and I was just 21 or 22 at that time, and I was facing my first court case. I took a risk, got all of these 40 people home, and I thought I was doing good for them, but then I get this mail. And then I started becoming all dramatic. I told my wife, if I go to jail, look after my parents, look after this, look after that. But then when I was coming back home, there was a song that was playing on the radio. It said, "The voice of truth says, do not be afraid, and the voice of truth will always win." And we hired a lawyer. In fact, we spoke to many lawyers. They were asking us for hefty amounts, unimaginable amounts to solve the case. But then I had a friend it's good to have lawyers who are your friends. They charge you less. So we engaged him, and usually, how long does a court case take in India to get solved? Years? Decades? Generations? Centuries? Probably never. 2 months I won the case. 60 days. That's all. The judge looked at it and said, "This is nonsense." He quashed it. And I won the case. But all of those 40 people got a second chance to live. This was some of the condition of the people. Thousands of lives in the hair, not being taken care of. No caretaker. Next one. Trust God. There's a verse in the Bible that says, "Trust God with all your heart and depend not on your own understanding." Sometimes, I don't know how many of you believe in God or not, but I believe that there is a big guy sitting up there. There is a big guy sitting up there watching over all of us. So we trust God. We have been trusting God from the minute we started Second Chance till this very day. Our NGO runs on faith. We run on faith that God is going to provide for all our needs. And one particular story that I'd like to share will literally blow your mind. When I started off Second Chance, there were a lot of people who told me that you're too young. You're too young to start. You won't get funds. People won't trust you. You'll hardly be able to rescue 1 or 2 people in 1 year. By the end of 1 year, we had 100 people, and we had 3 shelter homes already. These are some of the pictures of the shelter homes that we are running presently. This is one at Yapral, this is the one at Charlatali, and this is a bigger space at Gadkesar. So the story I'd like to share with you is called the Miracle Idlis. And why I mean with Miracle Idlis is because sometimes things are tight at the shelter home. We have about 200 people that we need to feed on a daily basis, 3 meals. Sometimes you do not have enough to feed people. But it's a testimony that for all these years, for the past 12 years, there's not been a single time where anyone has gone hungry. Not a single time, right? So one day we were short of food, and someone had brought a can of idlis, say about 50 idlis. So now in our Yapral center, we have 3 floors and we have about 50 people staying there. So 50 idlis for 50 people. Our people tend to eat like a marathon, like 6, 8, 10 idlis, because as they recover, their appetite goes higher. And the caretaker, his name is Raju, he was wondering, how will I serve these 50 idlis to 50 people? And he said, never mind, let's just go and feed whoever gets first come, first serve, and then we'll think about the next situation. He takes the can, goes up to the first floor, feeds the first floor, comes back down, there's idlis again. He finds idlis again in that same place. He takes that second set of idlis, goes back to the second floor, feeds them, comes back, there's idlis again. Takes those idlis, feeds the ones on the third floor, comes back down, there's 1 idli left in the basket. That's the miracle idli. Raju ate that idli just to remember what had happened on that day. Right? So sometimes things are beyond our control. Sometimes we cannot do something to get something. But there is a big guy up there who sees the intentions of your heart, who sees what you want to do, and who's always there to provide. Last one. Take on challenges. Life will throw challenges at you, left, right, and center. But challenges often prepare ordinary people for the extraordinary. So if you're not having challenges in your life, you will remain an ordinary person for the rest of your life. And one such challenge that I'd like to share with you, and most of you in healthcare could relate, is the story of myself, out on a rescue mission near Eragada, near the TB hospital. So if you find someone in this condition near the TB hospital, you know for sure that that person has some kind of a disease. So as a protocol, what we do is we wear a mask, we wear gloves, and we check their vital signs right on the road. Like if they need some kind of an emergency medication, we administer it to them on the road. So we were checking his vitals. I was checking his vitals. This is happening in the middle of a busy road, right? There are vehicles going all around and there's a lot of commotion. We somehow managed to park the ambulance and cater to this man. He was crying out for help, lying naked. I checked the blood pressure and then I was checking the blood sugar, and I was using a lancet, a needle, to check the blood sugar. My bad, I was not using the click pen. So I used the lancet and I poked his finger, and blood was not enough. So then I poked the other finger and the blood came out a little bit, but it was not enough for the reading. But I saw it with my very own eyes that the lancet had blood on it, right? So when I was trying to swab his other finger to get some blood to put it on the glucometer, the same needle poked me. It poked my thumb. And although I was wearing a glove, it went very deep into my thumb. And I was 100% positive that that needle had blood. And immediately I froze. This was not some kind of a movie or a dream that you can go back and undo or go to the last checkpoint. I called my wife and I told this is what has happened. And she was anxious. Both of us were anxious. We called the doctor. But the doctor said that you need to screen this person for what he has. And then if you are exposed to anything, you need to get treated to it. We went back home. We took him back home, sent his blood. It returned as HIV positive. I got directly exposed to the HIV virus. And since I'm not in the medical profession, it was a very big deal for me. It's a common health hazard in medical science, but for me, it was a life-changing hazard. And my instant thoughts were, what if I get HIV? Because I was positive that the blood went in. What if I die of this disease? What if I can never be a father in my life? And then we rushed to Apollo Hospital. They put me on prophylaxis on the HIV medication, so I had to take that strong medication for 30 days. That made me very sick. I had a lot of joint pains and fever and vomiting. But more than the physical aspect of this entire episode, the mental trauma was very strong, because these are some things you cannot tell everyone. You cannot tell your team. It gets their morale down. So I had it within me and my wife and my family, and all we could do is take on the challenge and go ahead with the mystery that was around. We didn't know what life held for us. And the doctor had told us that we had to take a test. I had to take a test at 6 weeks, 3 months, and 6 months. 3 tests. In any single of tests, if you come positive, you are HIV positive. And by God's grace, all the 3 tests came negative. So I was completely free from that disease. But In the midst of that, I took on the challenge and I still continued my work. I didn't stop. I still continued my work. If I had given up at that very moment, I think I wouldn't have gone further in life. So we take on challenges. So we talked about success. We talked about how successful some of the people in this room are. And we talked about what success actually is. In the past 12 years of my work, I've been privileged and honored to rescue more than 3,000 people from the streets of Hyderabad. Not because I was capable or a great raiser of funds, but just because I was consistent. Just because of the consistency in the work, people believed and people started giving. Consistency in what you do to help others every single day will help you to be successful in life. So every single day, let's make it a habit, and I'm sure most of you are, to do something good for someone in need. And that will truly make you successful in life. These are some of the pictures of my journey. Used to be out on the streets almost every single day for many, many years, serving the people on the streets. So we saw what adversity did to my life, what adversity, out of adversity, what was born, but also it brought me my blessings. Two of the biggest blessings in my life. Number one, my beautiful wife, Teresa. She's right there, sitting right there. Yes. If you come, with your permission. Isn't she beautiful? Pretty girl. I was always, praying for someone to marry someone who would, be with me in the cause. Just imagine if she was working the corporate and I was doing this, it would be a complete mismatch. But she actually was in Italy. She was doing her master's. And in Italy, in the middle of a supermarket, she broke down because one elder had video called her. And she took the next flight back home, leaving everything, and came to serve people here full time. That's what she did, yeah. And the second thing she did was she fell in love with me. And we got married. So, yeah. And then, the next blessing. Yes, she's coming to me. This is the second blessing that I got. Yes, this is Ida Evelyn Jasper. This is my beautiful daughter. She is our adopted child. We adopted her on Jan 1st, 2025. In fact, we didn't adopt her, she adopted us. She adopted us. She's a blind child. She's born with this condition called bilateral anorthopalmia, which means the absence of eyeballs. So she doesn't have eyeballs, and probably she'll never be able to see for the rest of her life. But she's the smartest, cutest, and the most amazing young girl who has changed our lives for the better. And yes, please, a round of applause for my beautiful daughter as well. Yeah. Thank you. Please be seated. This is our happy family. In the midst of all the pain, all the suffering that we see every day, this is our time where we get to spend with each other, and it's just an amazing time. Many people ask me the question, what keeps you going? What is that driving force that keeps you going? I say it's these two questions, and if it's okay, can we all just read this out together? Come on, here we go. If not now, then when? If not me, then who? Every time I spot a person who's homeless on the street, I ask myself this question. If not now, that person's going to die. And if I don't go, I don't think anyone else is going to go. So these are the questions that drive me every single day to rescue thousands of people from the streets. And these are all the people that we have rescued. Do they look like people who are dying? Absolutely not. That's because love changed their life, and they're all with us right now, and they're part of our big family called Second Chance. Yeah, the big happy family called Second Chance. In conclusion, I'd like to say that God used an ordinary person like me. I'm not even 6 feet tall. I'm just about 5 feet 4 inches. He used an ordinary person like me to carry out his extraordinary plan, which is impacting thousands of people. And if he used me, a person like me, I'm sure he can use all of you. So you have one life, and all we got to do is make it count. Like Dr. Amita mentioned, her father would use every opportunity in his soul, in his blood, to do something for humanity. I think that's the greatest motivation all of us here sitting today can have, that we have one life, we have limited time, we have to make each and every second count. I thank all of you for giving me this wonderful opportunity, especially Dr. Evita, for inviting me and giving me this wonderful opportunity to present before you. I hope I've not taken much of your time and not bored you. I would request all of you to pray for us, to pray for our family, and also visit our shelter homes. You can follow us on Instagram. You quickly scan it. You can get all our stories. And I would love to open up the floor right now for question and answers.